So welcome to another installment of Exploring Consciousness with the Earth Nouveau. We're going to the edge of unknowingness today because we don't necessarily know where this energy is going to take us, using the law of surprise. And I'm going to go into facilitator mode and I'm just going to ask the question, what would you like to get out of this session today? The floor is open. So, in terms of, lots of people come in. Let's do maybe a little round because there are a couple of people which haven't been on. Maybe there's some stuff going on. They want to get off their chest or they want to contribute. And then let's see, Irina's already thrown in a couple of nice things with regards to predictions and, that edgy unknowingness, who, what wants to come through. But let's just see, this is the second session in the new year. How's everyone doing?
Awesome.
Yeah, we've seen Alfredo. He's come through with an amazing flow that he's posted in our Facebook group, and Alfredo will come on at some stage whenever he's ready and tell us all about the journey. Storytelling, like what we discussed last time, telling our stories and inspiring others with it.
It feels like there's a kind of a renewed sense of excitement. I think with everything that's gone on the last couple of years and how everyone's been, kind of hermiting, and even with this kind of new surge of stuff that's coming up, it feels like in this 2022, right, the 6 year, there's a renewed sense of excitement from people, right? And I mean, I think we always see that at the beginning of the year where it's kind of like time to start something new. People kind of start, in high gear, going. And I'm seeing that with a lot of people, right? Saying, oh, I want to be clean and clear so I can kind of really, jump into this new year.
Well, I'm so glad AB is not here because you know what he's going to say. Nothing is going to happen.
We got you to say that, Martina.
No, but I don't believe that. I actually don't believe that. I'm with what Tanya is saying. I actually do have that sense, and I don't necessarily have that in the beginning of the year as many others do. I really do I actually feel it personally within myself that as soon as I'm done with a book, I'm actually out there. I'm off the couch again, and I've been on it now for the last 2-3 years, like very nicely throughout the lockdown. So it's all really, both divinely orchestrated, and it's really helped me to, just like with anyone else, I suppose, take stock and see where we're at. And there is the new me coming through, whatever that looks like. So I get that, Tanya. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah.
My mother-in-law used to say, today is the day that is full of surprises. Nobody knows what's gonna happen. And I think there's that kind of energy, like, oh, wait, what's gonna happen? We don't, and like you said, nothing's gonna happen. But it feels like each of us individually now are starting to step more fully into our power, right? And this has been a great support, I think, for all of us.
I do.
Springboard.
Yeah. And there's one thing that has been a surprise to, Novak Djokovic, the man. How does he get better than that, right? I mean, he's coming. I have no idea what's going on at the moment, if they've thrown him out again, but he won the court case, to come into Australia on some messed up stuff going on. I don't want to go into any details, but the message is so great because he's bringing it forward, a message of love and a message of reunion. That's all I'm going to say to that. But that is something that We need more people like that to allow themselves to, even if it was a mistake, to make a mistake, right? And shed some light on what is going on. And it's interesting, man. There's lots of the contrast of the responses when you look at Twitter, and you know, I've looked a little bit on that, and you got to obviously maintain your sacred perspective on this one. And I would have liked to see probably a little bit more positive, you know, in the direction that we are going. But you know, it doesn't matter. We need more people like that, more incidents like that. And that's exciting. So that has excited me. Yes. What else? What would you like to get out of this session today?
Crickets.
Well, crickets have been really enjoying how everything seems so new. I might plan something maybe an hour ago, and I'm in the middle of it, and everything is just new. I'm sensing an energy of freshness and newness. I love the no plan fun, because what I've decided is that I'm just not gonna plan anything. You know, I'm just gonna go what feels good in the moment and just do that, be that.
My observation, people stop shrinking so much like it was before. You know, when something coming at you, you try to put everything together and shrink a little bit, just not to be destroyed completely. This is what I see, my observation. People stopped shrinking too much like it was before. It's kind like a lot of people hitting that bottom in being influenced and being in a fear. After those 2 years when no one knew what's happening, this year reaction of people completely different. It's like, okay, what is next? This is what I see. Yeah. Not so much immediately shrinking and doing some counter action.
Yes.
People continue with their flow. This is what I see more and more.
And choosing
it's still different directions. Everyone, it's personal journey, as we know, but kind like it's heading more and more in more smiley direction, I would say, for everyone, like together, my feeling.
More allowance and more of a focus, more of a walking away if things don't work, instead of having a huge, you know,
Yes.
meltdown or something. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And less reactional actions, and more continuing with their direction, even with that information coming at them and trying to influence them from their direction. This is what I see. Less and less of that reactional action.
As you mentioned that, I'm also seeing more authentic expressions of people in terms of whatever material they bring out. They just don't allow doubt and hesitation to, as you say, limit who they are. They just say, look, you don't like it, that's fine, fuck off, or leave, don't, you know, that kind of stuff. So there's a bluntness, and that obviously works very much in favor of everything, because it's almost like, yeah, no, allow yourself to say, allow yourself to look at it, and if people don't like it, well, then walk away.
I even talking about power structure, reaction on directives of power structure in general.
Yeah,
much softer reaction of people, not so much trusting what they said, more trusting yourself, your personal feeling, personal journey. This is what I see in my observation.
Well, looking back at the Djokovic saga, I followed it a little bit. As I said, there is quite a bit of judgment still out there you know, especially but you see, this is the interesting thing, is he comes from the people that have actually undergone certain things they never really wanted to, and now they start blaming the ones that actually stayed away from it.
I missed this story. What is that story about?
Novak, the Serbian, well, he's a champion, you know, in Australian Open. So he had an exemption. He's not vaccinated. He had an exemption from the state of Australia, and I think the federal, you know, I don't know exactly the details, but between the federal government and the state itself or something, you know, there was a mix-max, and they basically refused him to come through, and they put him in detention, put him into the detention center for almost a week, and then he got himself a lawyer and basically disputed the whole thing, and he got out. So he's, I think as of yesterday, he was training already. But yeah, it was quite interesting. The reaction of the people was really, and I, you know, when I looked at it, it was really a matter of resentment towards him. When you read between the lines, it wasn't so much a resentment towards him, what he really did or hasn't done, but more the resentment of why you and not us, that, you know. And this is why I thought it was such a positive incident, whichever way you want to look at it, because it will allow people to start looking at that. You know, they have a choice too, because he just made a choice by not being vaccinated, and, you know, all of that. Don't want to go into this political blah, blah, but I thought it was good because he was out in the open. It was somebody who is so well known. So, and, you know, the entire world is watching. And that's, you see, there's another thing. I watched a New Year's concert on the 1st of January, which is from the Musikverein in Vienna. And I watch it every year, and I cry because it's the music and everything. And they had an Argentinian conductor, well over 80, or over 80. And they never do that. But he actually said, can I say a few words in English? And he addressed the international people, you know, international group, and actually send a message of union and communion through this, you know. And it was the same thing. I mean, my tears were streaming, and I thought, what is this? And it was the recognition of the change that is on the way. And I was obviously, it hit me even more because it came from Austria, which is quite, at the moment, a bit like Australia or Germany, quite totalitarian in their approach and everything. And there was him standing there and making that very brief speech, yeah, in total sacred neutrality, but making that point again in a context where lots of people are watching, you know, so it's good.
I recently discovered this name, David Martin. If you guys heard about this guy, he is from political arena, and I don't really know exactly what is his position, but he's talking about completely different approach now to our societal structure based on law, and to recognize unlaw actions that is connected to this situation with 2 years already, but it started much earlier. So when I was listening to his information, it just shining light how it started, why we have situation like this today with all this happening. And he is actually giving some sharing his point how to direct now life into different completely relations between all structures of society, including economic, including politics, including just human factors. So I like his point of view. It just, if you're interested, I can send you link to his information. It's just interesting to understand deeper, like AB doing it on his wider and further, like point of view, bigger picture. He's looking from that perspective, and this is perspective like from political arena. What can be changed today without trauma, just including what we can look at already existing and how we can turn what was created till now using that was already existing, but now using the same law, but turning into different direction. I love it very much. And I love that people with power talking this, not just people crowd who tired from experiencing that, but he is having everything, but he tired from this looking at those people who misusing what we already have.
Misusing the
That
power.
we can build much nicer stuff with what we already have.
Fantastic. What comes to mind, Shoba, in 1 second, what comes to mind is, remember, it was 2014, I think, when we had this tremendous amount of walk-ins come into the middle management and everything. And this is now 14, 6, 7, 8, the 8th year. So this might be now the results that we're seeing. So this is hindsight. This is actually quite nice to look at. And the other thing I like is you are talking about this, embodied spirituality, where we're all now feeling, or I certainly feel that going back into, okay, so what's happening right here, right now? We've done the other work, or we know now how to do it. So it's almost like the search is over. It's not that important anymore to go into looking, who am I, because we have a better understanding. I'm not saying, of course, we don't have entire understanding, but a better understanding, so we can actually get back into the root chakra, right? Not just creating, and look what gets created. And the other thing is, look at the pattern recognition, which is almost one of the universal laws, really, to look at the pattern recognition and working with that and infiltrating. Because think about it, we've infiltrated into this galactic ascension machine in order to do exactly that.
I'm having my students coming to my workshops. Oh, am I interrupting something?
No, go ahead. I'm just, I know Shoba is waiting, but
okay, I will be short. And these people who are coming today to my workshops, so into these societal structures, but at the same time, they're interested in heart energy, in oneness energy. And this is what we are talking with them, that you are in perfect position. You are looking at what we don't want anymore, and with being is centered in your heart without any judgment, any sides, just looking at situation, you can make your statement. Thank you very much for this service. You don't, no longer need it, like AB was saying to us, yes? You no longer need it. Your presence not desirable here on earth. You must leave my earth, my universe now. So this is what's happening now. People that have nice and steady position in society, interested in this spirituality's point of view, and connecting, like you said, Martina, embodying with your bigger picture connection, universal citizenship.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Irina. Where's Shoba gone?
I'm here.
Here she is. Okay.
Hi, darling. Sorry I was a bit late to the show. Just wanted to say thank you, Irina. Wonderful what you said. And yeah, a book I'm about to read is this one, Lizards Eat Butterflies by David Martin.
Oh.
It's his latest book, I guess. And yeah, I think he's great because he's really put himself in the fire. And this is a theme for me that's really running right now. Stick yourself in the fire and get burnt. and that's the sovereignty. And I have to say it's not particularly comfortable, but it's like this really having to dig down deep inside of myself right now when I'm speaking and find that point of truth. Not just blah, blah talking, but to really dig down. And it's an effort. I never thought it would be, because I always had this idea I was a truthful person. But I would say I got pretty lost in a lot of things. And now today, thanks to COVID, thanks to the craziness that's happening around it, it's such an opportunity to find your own truth, my truth. And now I'm having extraordinary exchanges with people that wouldn't normally speak to. And it's like truth has its own beautiful sound now. It has its own song. And boy, is that beautiful to hear that song coming from somebody else, and you can sing it back. And there was one exactly this morning, it really put me in a spin. Someone came in the business. He's an ex-mayor of the village. And you could say very much up there. But we had a conversational exchange that just dug so deep down into what is honest between a conversation. And it was precious. And this is somehow what I'm finding now with the connections around. It's either there's absolute no way of connecting, you know, it's just essentially get out my field. It's just that's just crazy stuff. Or there's being put into situations where I now have the choice to be as authentic as can possibly be, or I have the choice to walk away and to say thank you, but I don't enter in that anymore. And that happened yesterday as well. A situation occurred and I simply had to say, no, I'm sorry, I can't subscribe to this. I am going to withdraw. I will pay what needs to be paid, and I'm withdrawing now. Wish you well, but I can't subscribe to that. And it's so nice to have that choice all of a sudden. You know, not to get upset, pissed off, or however you want to put it, or say nice words, but just to say, you know, my choice is here and I don't choose to do that. But thank you very much. Till the next time. And this is an empowering that I'm finding extraordinary, because I thought I understood what choice was. I understood it intellectually. But to be in confrontational situations, and then you suddenly, the choices pan out in front of you, and you can hold on to who you are, what you are, and have a conversation within that, and stay true to your sovereignty and your choices, which could change within split seconds. This, it's like having champagne pumped through the veins.
Beautifully said.
You know, it's suddenly like, and there's like, you just want to get hold of this and go, and say to this energy, down boy, because you've got to stay centered with it as it starts coming up. Stay.
It looks like we are ready for creative energy of dragons.
Honey, up. Lizards eat butterflies, chuck that out. Let's get for the dragon. It's like, and that's why I love this show, this program, whatever, to be able to say stuff like this. It's magic. And I walk away, and you suddenly say, you start laughing with yourself. It's like, who is this? I feel like a kid again, you know?
Oh.
Super. So that's all I wanted to say. And yeah, thanks to support for this group, really, that just puts you out there.
Beautiful.
Yeah, thanks, Martina.
No, you're welcome. Thanks for sharing that, because that's what Shoba's really just said was the experience of all the teachings, right?
Yeah.
And without having the experience of it, there's nothing to share really, other than to regurgitate what others are saying. What you've done is you've said it in your signature frequency now. And that is, there's only one truth, right? And every single perspective and experience that we have adds another dimension to this truth. Because at the end of the day,
it becomes so rich,
yeah.
and yet you can stand in the middle and hold it. And I'm actually considering doing another ayahuasca journey quite soon, because I'd love to explore this within that.
Yeah.
Because now have this feeling that could be within the journey and be fully conscious and really push those boundaries, really go to that edge of infinity and be within it at the same time. And we're setting something up now, I don't know if it'll come through, but a very small group, and I would love to explore that. It's like now I've got a reason to really go and journey, not just healing or this or that or that, or it's like, let's go fully conscious into this and push the boundary on it.
The energy of surrender.
Oh,
Surrendering into that.
yeah, deep dive.
So what had to happen in your life for that surrender to come through? If you just think of 3 things, anyone, not just Shoba, for us to surrender, what are just 3 things from your perspective, from your perception, that you can add to that truth, to that one truth, which is infinite?
Not quite an answer, but it's synchronistic. I just, I don't know, maybe 3 days ago, was tuning in to a book with somebody I appreciate. And then in the ceremonies we go to, the host often says, surrender, surrender, but then that moment, it's sometimes challenging, but it was so perfect when I heard these words from this book. It was like, oh, the perfect answer, or for me at that moment in time. So that surrender, surrender, surrender. Surrender is easier to do when we realize surrender is letting go into infinite support. So going into infinite support, like, oh, okay, that makes it so much easier. Like, okay, that's, yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Marissa. Support, yeah. It's one of them. Feeling supported.
I think that energy of transformation happens when one realizes that what they've been doing isn't working. Like, how can we move through what's not working and create a situation that is? And even maybe something is working within the old energy and it just doesn't feel right anymore. So letting go of something that is, I don't know, maybe perceived by the collective as an ideal situation, but in your heart, you say, this isn't working for me anymore. I need to move to the next thing, and I don't know what that is, but I'm going to be open to it.
letting go, and at the same time not criticizing yourself, loving yourself. Then you come to that energy of surrendering. If you're still criticizing, it will keep you in that seesaw. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right, and you will still try, or you will resist your previous pattern. But when you do it with love to yourself, that softness inside, and not criticizing, then quicker you can come to that surrendering. And surrendering to what? To who? To you. Like Tanya said, just letting go of what didn't work before. And you see, Abe is saying we are living in universe, try everything, no rules. Yeah, unlimited. And in this 100% free will, try everything, no rules, we managed to create belief about making mistake. Just listen and feel this. Make mistake in no rule playground. It's impossible. But that belief so strong in humanity, that I made mistake, that is connected to that perfectionism. And this is what triggering people continue beating with their forehead into wall, continue pushing the same direction instead of saying, wow, it was wonderful journey. I'm stopping that direction and I'm exploring what other 360, 59 directions available for me. And just look where you can go now. So that situation with making mistake, it's so absurd. It's impossible in our reality. But since we were going into that duality limitation direction, this is what we did. We get our mastery. Now we need to look at that moment, make mistake and perfectionism. This is two things that the same. It's impossible. It's impossible. Just feel. It's impossible to make mistake. In free will, 100% free will universe with unlimited possibilities. Yeah, exactly. I was laughing when I discovered that thing. Wow, mistake. What is this? And it was perfect tool for our limitation direction, coming from 7-dimensional beings to 3-dimensional beings, just to explore for consciousness what is possible. And we did our exploration. So today, just that smiling toward this understanding and belief mistake will give you that love for yourself and appreciation yourself. And it's easier to let go some direction and try move into another direction.
Absolutely. I think my thing would be having a very curious and logical mind despite everything. I needed to educate myself about the bigger picture. There was a search, a need for more information of what the bigger picture was. And that thirst needed to be quenched for me to be able to surrender, because I had a knowingness there was more out there. And when I arrived, it was in 2014 when I arrived at the level of, okay, so I've done this and this and this. So who can now help me out here to go to the next level? And that was obviously, my first reading I had with Andrew. And then, even that, after that, it was just listening to that higher level of perception and resonating, and also thinking, what the hell is that? And, and all of that. And once I had I don't know, education is the wrong word really, but once I've allowed myself to remember, because it was that I needed a trigger to help me remember. And as soon as I had that, then now, once there's a completion process with everything, allow you, like the seasons, the law of rhythm and everything. And once you complete a certain level of knowingness and awareness, then for me, then I could surrender. So that was the bigger picture was important to me.
Yeah, I really appreciate what you're saying with that, Martina, because I felt the same way. Where when I've gone through a very, I don't know, kind of slow and steady journey of awakening, and at some point it's like I know there's more, but why isn't it being talked about, right? Why aren't we seeing it? Why aren't we internalizing it and living it? So that's when I was also finding AB's material. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I appreciate that bigger picture, and wanting to see back up and see the way things function, right? And be aware of those cycles of life in that deeper way that we as a Western culture aren't really open to and aware of, right? And looking at all of that old structural way of thinking, that's been in place, been put in place and locked down and locked down and locked down really since the last fall of Atlantis. But now it's like, okay, well, we are, starting to unbind some of that old energetic structure and live within much more freedom, I think. And again, there's a surrender to that, and that knowingness.
And the surrender is just the beginning now. It's the beginning of a new journey, because now it's not so much in me, and it's not just AB, but AB has been the one with the highest level of perception when it comes to galactic history and all of that. And lots of other teachers out there. And I still, when I come across books, and I devour them because, I'm interested in different points of views and patterns and everything. But now there's a level of, now I can sit back and also just tap into my own way of, finding resolution. Not, I wouldn't say resolution, not so much from a healing perspective. That's never been an issue, but more from a perspective of, let's connect to the things that we don't know,
Well, and create something new. Right. I mean, it's not new. It's always, nothing's new, but something different and something surprising than that expected norm that comes from the heart, that comes from that, multidimensional portal of the truth of who each of us are individually.
And
So
stepping,
you're talking about surrender, and I think for me there's an equivalent term. I think for me it's non-attachment. I don't know what you think about that, but the way you're talking about surrender, non-attachment kind of means nearly the same thing.
Yep, I would say so. If I look at the energy, for me, it's the same. Yeah, no judgment, no attachment.
I think it also brings up the question of trust, because there has to be trust, or trust has to arise.
And the trust definition that I've adapted from my journey with Access, I really like that. They look at trust, they defined it, reframed it, and said, I trust that I know what you're going to do. There's no blind faith in, I trust that I know how you're going to react. It's not, I don't trust that you will be home. It's like my partner, yeah. I'll be home in an hour. Yeah, I trust that you will not. I trust that you will do what you do. So there is that non-judgment again, that allowance of, as well. It's
working
not,
with, excuse me.
No, go.
Sorry. Continue, Martina.
No, I'm done. Go.
You done? Working with heart energy, I recognize trust, vibration, trust, experience, it's a heart experience. Nothing else actually will trust in your body. Everything will check because everything is logical. It's only trust that connected to that inner knowing, to that bigger picture, to that remembering. So yes, trust, it's a big part in letting go, because if you're not connected to that, in my understanding, not connected to that energy of trust, how you will let go? It's dangerous. You don't have tools how to evaluate situation, you won't let go. But when you touch that energy of trust that is connecting you through heart, through to bigger picture, to remembering, then it's easy to change your directions. You are flexible, you are moving through your experiences. And yes, Tanya, I love what you said. We are bringing now experience of fun and joy finally, not so much obligation and I have to and completion or whatever. It's a fun and joy because we already done, we already completed on some level, and it's closer and closer to our human experience. It's kind of like moving closer and closer when we really step in full. Of course, it's personal. Someone going quicker, someone going slower, but it's coming to a moment when we connect our universal experience and human experience into one. And it's really fun and joy and that firework of universal laughter and all that thing. And you can embody that in your life. It's more and more available for us to go that direction quicker. Nothing kind like stopping us. And this situation with these 2 years, yes, our situation, it's already made that even easier. This is my connection to what I said before. People don't react as much like it was before. Continue their movement, their direction.
It was almost like having been given a permission slip, and I know it's not necessarily something, you know, to be proud of, to say that we needed that, but it felt like that, having been given that permission slip, that everyone was in the same boat. That is that beautiful gift of that situation that we've been through, you know, that we didn't have to put ourselves forward or back or anything. We were all equal in the same situation, you know. I think that was a huge facilitator for all of us in a way. Yeah, I trust that I'm here to have some fun. I trust that.
Well, this is a good week for it.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Yeah. So in the galactic calendar, the 13-day cycle, the new 13-day cycle started on Sunday, and it's the blue magnetic monkey, guided by magic. So, you know, the monkey is about play, is about kind of playtime and fun and not taking things so seriously, not taking things, you know, so lightly, but also, you know, smashing into that illusion and creating the magic within it.
Oh,
So we're in that energy right now, which is fun. Yeah.
fabulous. I'm a monkey, I think, in the Chinese horoscope. That makes
Me
sense.
too.
Fantastic. Cool. Thanks for sharing that. Tom, sorry we interrupted you. I interrupted you. Do you want to carry on? Say something about...
Well, I could only say, I think in the last week, one of the themes that I'm thinking about is deception, which I suppose is opposite to trust, or nearly opposite. And I'm just thinking about how that's played out in my own personal experience. There's been some deception. Yeah, but then it's extant on the world scale massively.
Yeah, and you know, also deception is a great invitation. If you look at deception, the energy of deception is a great invitation for looking at what you're not acknowledging yet. What levels of awareness are you hiding behind? Is there an awareness that you're not willing to see that allows the deception to come into your life?
And it's easier to look at this moment in personal life deception when you keep bigger picture as well parallel. You look at your human experience and that energy and event of deception, and you keep bigger picture. You easier can understand what brought you personally to this point of this event, why you are in this situation personally with your personal journey. If we are not keeping that bigger picture, it's harder because it's kind of like that vortex that pushing you down, 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 and there is no exit from that situation if you don't keep that bigger picture. It's my experience.
Yeah. I you know, it's, you know, anything, any opposing, any contrasting, you know, polarization of anything here. I mean, I welcome it, to be honest, because I look at it and say, okay, so what am I not acknowledging? That's my question. What, okay, bit me in the ass here. What am I not willing to acknowledge here? You know, what potency have I not acknowledged within myself yet? It's always a catapult in the right direction, you know, to look at it. Great, yeah. And look, as Irina says, you know, this is being played out in the global arena, of course, you know, deception. Absolutely, it will filter through.
As I remember,
Go.
As I remember, it was last initiation before sarcophagus in Egypt, when you had to recognize this deception energy and understand oneness in bigger picture, looking at some kind of deception spectacle that was played in that initiation. Name of that initiation, sepulcher. So yeah, it is kind like last one before you're ready to go universally and acknowledge your universal citizenship.
Yeah, and you know what? The other thing, in addition to that, Tom, is, you know, as the veils are lifting, and they definitely have been, you know, in the process of lifting, and more energy is coming in. It's a great way of this. It's a nice dissociation as well. Don't get hung up on what's happening in this lifetime. Look at the pattern and say, oh, interesting. What past life situation, or you know, I don't know why I want to say triangle, but what past life entanglement could have led to that deception. Yeah, so you can expand it out a little bit with the level of your awareness. You can expand it out, and as soon as you do that, you don't get lost in this reality, you know, because as soon as you put your multidimensional boots on, you say, okay, so which version of myself is involved in that? Is there a version of yourself that needs healing, that's attracting that's working against you? And then it becomes that playfulness on a cosmic level, on a multidimensional level, which already puts the normal deception energy that we usually would, you know, I don't know, feel probably awkward about in this reality, just blows it out of proportion.
And on mental level, mental body level, it's a belief. What kind of belief you created in that your version in your past lives, and you still carrying that belief, that is today, you need to look, not so much need, you can look and choose, do I want to continue that direction with that belief, or it's already played out. I got everything, and I love to step into my complete unlimitedness and start to explore without that energy and that belief, creating new belief, step into your potentiality, with new belief.
Absolutely. It's a bit like what Shoba said earlier on. She said, I'm no longer that person. That doesn't mean that another Shoba person, that's still connected to her, will step in the dog shit tomorrow. Yeah. That doesn't mean that the person she is now will have to revert back, to who she used to be. She can just acknowledge that. I'm just using you, Shoba, here as an example. It's the same with all of us. So it's like, and this is a good question to ask. When stuff like that happens, you ask, who am I being when this is happening? Or who am I being when I'm allowing this to happen? And when am I being? You can run through all those. When, how am I being? When am I being? And it's like, if you just ask Tom, let's obviously ask Tom, when am I being when that happened? Can you appreciate that it's not the Tom that is talking to us here now?
Sure.
Yeah.
And another point in relation to all we are discussing now, connect to your personal situation, general timing, where we are as humanity today in humanity experience. And we are in transition from old experience of limitations and duality to our new experience that we are creating. No one knows what is that will be. We are creating while we are stepping into that brand new experience that we already discussed that in our meetings. So if you connect to that situation, your personal patterns that you recognize still limiting you, you can integrate them, not so much put on aside and waiting until they again stepping out in your life. But you can integrate them whenever you recognize, especially that sharp situations, we are stepping with some patterns that emotionally we can feel. It's emotionally triggering us. At that moment, you can integrate it and put it into your light body, into your energy body as energetic memory instead of chemical memory that replaying again and again through your body, through your bodies and emotional and mental and physical body. You can integrate it and shift it as remembering how was it in duality limitation and how I will remember that and now no more stepping into that seesaw of reacting on those previous experiences through belief, through emotional triggers.
Absolutely. And when Irina talks about integrating, there's obviously lots and lots of different techniques. And also at this level, awareness creates change. Just you acknowledging what the fuck's going on here. Oops, okay, gone, done, integrated. Yeah. So don't think for 1 second there's a lot of this big spiel of I have to do 5,000 fire ceremonies in order to integrate that. No, it's like, okay, acknowledge that pattern is recognized. Let's move on, right?
Exactly. This is how easy to do it, Martina. Yes, it's exactly like that. It's only then watch for you not to step again on the same, how we call it, rake, or how you call it, on the same situation. Just watch yourself and stop yourself from repeating. Just go with your energy in that pattern of enjoying and celebrating. Wow, I see it. Yesterday I was going this direction and would continue, and this is what I would have as outcome. Today I'm not going that direction. This is how we return that freedom, multidimensionality, flexibility, and stepping into your desirable experience, not predicted by anything or anyone.
Absolutely, absolutely. And there will be, yes, exactly like Irina says, sometimes, you know, it keeps on coming back. Well, then you look at it in a bit more of a, you know, you start really destroying all the roots that are hanging on to that belief, you know. So sometimes you can take out the whole, all the roots. Think of a flower, of a plant, right? You're taking out the belief and all the little roots coming out with it. And then sometimes, you know, you got a little bit left in the soil, right? And you got to dig a bit deeper there. Absolutely. Carolina, you got your hand up. What are you
Yes,
knitting? Are you knitting something? What are you doing?
weaving.
Weaving.
I'm weaving.
Oh,
Yeah.
she's a weaver.
Yeah. Yes. Well, speaking of roots, I've had it at times, the awareness of a tendency, inclination, or I like the word you called it, entanglement of a past life that created a distortion. Sometimes the awareness of it just snaps me out of it and I can correct, but there are other times where I really have to connect to the space of birth. I really have to go there and invest in sacred alliance and ask what kind of balance is needed here. How did this create imbalance and become that reciprocity myself? I am that reciprocity myself. Because what I'm getting from Gaia is that she does not want to be playing around with my shenanigans anymore, or anyone. I mean, she's done. She does not want to serve herself in that way anymore. So I make that recognition and I say, Gallita, I'm here barefoot and I see what I've done, and that is really what brings me balance and how I balance. And speaking of weaving, the weaving as well, it brings a lot of connections to the magnetic service. And
So there's two things I want to just point out. I mean, obviously what you just said is beautiful, because it's, first of all, to appreciate the spirit of things, the consciousness of things, and really commune with it. Just like we always talk about communing with your body, communing with, you know, it's often when we say communing with earth is such a intangible thing. But if you say you're communing with the spirit of her, you know, or the guardians, or any, you know, the keepers, then it becomes a bit more personal, you know, in a way. And then also I like the weaving, what you said is like, if you think, do you know, there's obviously, we're imprinting. I do when I knit, it's meditative and everything, but I know that I am, through the tips of my fingers, I'm imprinting into whatever I'm knitting or weaving. And that's pure creation. Pure creation. That's beautiful.
Yes, it is. I'm going to show you. This is a mochila, or a bag where I keep elements of power. And if you see the center of the mochila, there's a hole. I mean, when you're going to start weaving, there's a hole in the center. And every time I start that hole, I mean, I go back to Aluna, to the beginning. That's her. That space there. And that's how you start a mochila.
That's the essence of spirit. That's where, you know, the oneness, the essence of spirit, where nothing has been divided yet. No egg has been divided into two. No separation. Total oneness. Beautiful.
Oh, there's a mochila there.
I have one from Colombia.
Oh, that's my birthplace.
It's my
Yes.
hall.
Oh.
What you call it? Mochila?
Mochila, it's a bag. It's where you keep your elements of power. That's where you keep. Yeah, that's powerful. And I think that's Can I see the mochila again, because I think I know what that's from the Sierra Nevada.
Yes, exactly, from Colombia tribe. Yes, Urwaco tribe. Yeah, I spent there 4 days in 2011, and this is where I purchased this mochila.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah,
This is cozy. This is
I
cozy.
know.
This the
This one, it's more like a cotton, some natural, like a herb. It's not so itchy. That one you showing, it's from wool.
yeah.
And I get
Yeah.
that one. I gave away as a present to my friend. I had that one as well. Um, uh, brown one. Yeah, yeah,
Mm. Oh,
yeah,
that's great,
yeah.
Irina. I didn't know you have been to the Sierra
Good
Nevada.
memories, yes. Very powerful. Very. Even touch it and hold it in your hands. It's so powerful. So conscious. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Mm.
What's going back to I don't know, simplicity comes to mind, you know, it seems simple, but actually it is so involved, right? By if we're saying, you know, going back to simplicity by weaving something or knitting something, but having the understanding of what we're actually doing when we're doing it, or playing an instrument. The impact it has. Now, again, that comes back to surrender for me, because, you know, I would have said, oh, this is what a waste of time. And, you know, I should be doing other things. And now I'm having a completely different appreciation when I knit something or when I draw something. It's like, no, this is my work now, right? I'm at work. Get out of here. You know, I'm at work. A totally different appreciation for living. Right? Oh, I think this is what it is, right? Coming out of forced evolution into natural living.
We again returning to creativity. So this is that playfulness and that predicting a period in a year, returning us. And you see, in many countries, it's a cold period. Yes, people sitting at home a lot. And in previous times when we didn't have so much entertainment outside when it's cold, people would gather together. I know in my culture, I'm from Ukraine, this period, this 14, 13 days of beginning of January, it's very magical. I would say all December, starting somewhere around December 10, and then January, all the way, I would say even to February, each day dedicated to some kind of connection, spiritual connection to some saint or to some name that had some history in humanity, spirituality through religion, of course, because it was the biggest connection to spirituality for a long time. So it is magical time. It still continue. And that energy of magical time, it's in the air. So that creativity we are discussing, this is that magic, that connection to unknown, creativity and dragon energy. I'm still returning to that energy. I don't know why, but it's so hanging everywhere, flying everywhere. I feel that energy. And again, it's connected to situation with people, even those who don't understand, not shrinking and turning, being influenced by any power structure, but still continuing in their direction. It's connected, it's all connected. So maybe some dragon energy now waking up. How do you feel, guys? I don't know. It's just returning me again and again back to dragon energy. Yeah.
Here's my dragon head. There you go. Some dragon energy for you, Irina.
Beautiful.
Wow. What crystal is this? What stone is this?
This is an Andara, which
Oh, okay.
is elemental, you know, encoded
Whoa.
glass, right? Encoded. Well, this one's encoded by the dragon energy.
Mm.
Whoa.
So here's our dragon today.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So
Do you know where it came from, Tanya? Oh, sorry.
I'm not sure where this one came from, but I got it from a guy in Florida on Etsy.
Nice.
Yeah. And it said, "You're mine." Call you in. Oh, it's a beautiful
Tanya,
little.
how do you feel? Is it Earth dragon encoded energy or not Earth dragon, some other celestial body? How do you feel?
I mean, this feels all fire to me.
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
this one. Yeah.
So it's not so much Earth's dragon energy. It's something like celestial, more in space somewhere. Yes.
So, it's interesting that you were talking about weaving and, the center, right? The center of the bag, because what this one is showing me now, it's like that spark of simplicity coming from that energy of the egg, right? And bursting out, right, with that fire, that creative fire energy, which can purify, right? Which is interesting because one of my crystal cards I drew this week is the pure element of fire. So that energy of starting from nothing and creating from that space of purification, of transmutation, right? Creating something new.
Yeah, I feel it. We still returning to that unknown of this universe in our creative process. Yep.
So my dragon looks like this. It's a cup. You see it?
Mm-hmm.
I find things. This is my arrangement that I have with the universe. Every time I go out, I go into markets and charity shops, and So what do I need to find today? What's going on? And that I found last week. So I totally forgot. Of course, I forget about stuff like that. So just put it down, and yes, this is the invitation to the dragon. And the dragon for me has come through a book that I've come across, reading about the Earth Star, London, the city of revelation, which I don't. This is more Laura's thing. Remember, Laura goes to all these sacred places and stuff, and I hope at some stage she'll come on and tell us all about it. But anyway, so I come across this synchronistically while I'm writing this book. I came across this book, London, City of Revelation, and the dragon energy everywhere. Yeah, but it's very much in a way of the number 12, which I am, my birth number, the number 12. It's like bringing it all together. So when I read this book, harmonizing the contrast and the ley lines and looking at connections and looking at the different, the 4 different pentagrams that start off the 20. Yes, the 20 point Earth star, and then it goes beyond that, and the alchemy between, fantastic. Yeah, well, you see, but this is the thing, we all have dragon energy in our DNA, and the way to activate it is exactly through creative action. What's that? A stone? I hear you, babes.
Yeah. It's a Hakimer. This is my dragon.
Fantastic.
So I'm wondering if part of the reason, well, maybe the dragon's energy called it in, but perhaps it allowed, let's say, the movie makers to come out with a movie. And now there's a movie, I think it's Raya, The Last Dragon. And it kind of talks, it's a kid movie. So I like the deep messages that come with kid movies. Or I tend to see them. Ooh, wow! So like the coming together of different tribes and pulling in all our parts. Like all these dragons represented certain powers, but all of a sudden you're the one, and you're calling in that power from that dragon and making it into yours, and then you allow that expression of all of them within you. And it's just like so many powerful messages. And then this is on mainstream like kids shows in this states, and it's like yes.
Fantastic. Yeah. Fantastic. No, definitely. There's a lot of that coming through. If you look at the movies, there's a lot of that dragon energy coming through, even if they don't depict a dragon itself, but that creative energy. Do you know what? Coma, COMA on Prime. I don't know if you've seen anyone. I saw that yesterday. Very good to watch. Very creative, as well. So there's a lot of those, series and movies coming through that inviting us to look at our dragon energy. Absolutely. And to become more creative.
Has anyone seen that movie, How to Ride Your Dragon?
There are parts to it, right? I saw
Loved it.
parts. I don't know everything. Yeah. Oh, I've got, I don't know how many dragons on my little altar, and crazy. Fantastic. Yeah, definitely the dragon energy coming through. So Rena, you're talking about the dragon. What other than, okay, so one thing, find out first, or ask yourself the question, how do you connect? How do you find things? Not just find, how do you connect to these energies? I mean, for me, it's very simple. As I say, I go, let me find it. And I always find something along those lines. And even if it takes me 2 years, yeah. I mean, I found sacred landscape, not landscape, sacred sites, a card set of sacred sites, I think 3 years ago. No, before, 4 years ago. It's been on my what do you call it? Thingy, shelf forever, because it's not my thing, right? All of a sudden, oh my God, yeah, I got to look at this. Only took me, they gave it to me so early, and now it's like, now the time is right. Okay. Whatever time is right when it's right. So this is a good way of looking at it. How do we connect? How do we get those inklings, those triggers? What is your personal, unique way of connecting to those energies?
Those divine synchronicities that continue to pop up.
Mm-hmm. Anything in particular? Is it like, as you said,
often words like you just share something and it applies to something else, and then it's like, oh yes, you're talking about this, but it applies to over here, or somebody else talking about this, and it's just highlighting this other thought process. Like, oh yeah, okay, thank you for that confirmation. Okay.
Yeah, that's nice. Pattern recognition, synchronistic. Yeah.
I mean, I think it goes back to also the intention behind the words, right? I mean, I think we did a show on Name It to Claim It, right, last year. And I think when we're opening up our intention and our words, right, we call in that energy. For me, with the dragons, I've been working with dragons for many, many years, and I have one that I ride and hire. In one of my multidimensional selves is a dragon rider, and so I've been working with that for many, many years. But after I had a session with Andrew, he said, "Oh, I can see how many dragons you're working with," and so he sent me that dragon invocation revocation, and after doing that, I had like a new dragon come in, like a school teacher dragon. And so the dragon that I ride and my school teacher dragon, we were like in school learning the 1 million letters celestial alphabet, right? So they can teach us what we're open to learning, It can teach us about using our magic and integrating in that multidimensional way, right? And that movie, The Last Dragon, I love that, where the voice of Aquafina plays the last dragon, and she's hysterical, really funny. But the magic that all of the dragons have, all of the dragons have all of the magic, right? So, you know, in this case, it was just the one dragon who could call in all of the other dragons' magic, but all the dragons have all of that magic. And so recognizing that almost as like a mirror reflection of ourselves, of how when we integrate with those multidimensional parts of ourselves, that we recognize that magic and that mystery within as well.
Beautifully said, yeah. He's got dragons in the dream world.
This is how I connected through my dream world. In my between worlds period of awakening, I just heard name and I just heard feeling and sensation. And like Tanya already said, it is translator. This is how my work going, my connection. It is translation. It's helping me to translate and bring needed information and put it into words, even physical words, our language words, 3D words, that vast connection to situation that I need to describe somehow. Yeah, and of course, laughter. A lot of laughter and no seriousness, just joy of exploration, I would say, and possibilities, exploration and possibilities. It's my experience.
Do you know what? That reminds me of something. It was 2018. We did a medicine journey with a mentorship group at the time in LA, and I remember having a dream with a dragon, and he was a destructive little shit. The dream was about, and I still vividly remember that one. I was setting up the room to do a healing, you know, and he was in a cage. He was supposed to be in this cage. That's where he was. And I just walked out, and by the time I got back, he obviously got out of the cage, and he absolutely ruined the entire room, fucked up the entire room, you know, messed everything up, you know, as much as he could. And I walked in and said, what the hell is going on here? I'm supposed to be doing this treatment now, you know? And he's like, and who cares, right? Totally pushing me to the edge in this dream. I remember, because it was all about not surrender. It was all about having to have it perfect the way it was. And he came basically in and said, you know what? Relax, woman. Relax. You have to surrender. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It doesn't matter. Just bring him. And that was part of my journey to surrender. You know, part of my intention for the ayahuasca journey was surrender, to learn about surrender, to not take myself so serious and everything else. And he came in literally in my dream and showed me by totally destroying my treatment room. Yeah, I remember that. So those guys are amazing, and in so many different ways we can interact with them, you know. Yeah. I was so pissed off. He just laughed, said, whatever. You needed that lesson. Where's he now? I'm just thinking. He's still here. But he wouldn't allow me to put him in a cage anymore. Not necessary. He's everywhere. So, okay, as I'm looking at it now, he wasn't just talking about earth dragons. He was a combination of everything. Earth, fire, water, air, and ether. And he said, I just needed whatever was required. He came out as a fire dragon in my dream because that was required. I needed to burn whatever held me back from surrendering and get rid of this perfection, blah, blah, and all of that. So he's a shapeshifter. He can shape shift. That's what dragons are. Yeah. And at the moment, as I'm looking at him now, he's very much in the earth, helping me to ground myself, to stay red. So he's showing me the red color at the moment. Deep, deep purple red. Beautiful.
Yes, I love the playfulness of the destruction for the purpose of like, hey, you're just focusing too much on this. And I hear the messages for myself, like, ha ha ha. Okay, thank you very much. Like, okay, just relax, relax.
And he was totally nonchalant. He was like, what do you want?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like really, you know, showing me the, yeah, lighten up, woman. Lighten up. Laughter. Yeah, big messages there.
What I feel, he actually respect very much your free will, your choice. And that dream, it was agreement between you two, that for that your experience, but he is very much respecting your free will and your choice, very much. And what I feel, it's respect and at the same time, kind like admiration, but without any bowing. It's just like, wow, just enjoying choices you're doing.
Thank you.
How you stepping from one to another, how you changing stuff, how you bringing it into your experience.
Oh, I like that. Thank you. And yes, I can perceive that. Yeah, we have a very sovereign and very old connection, you know. But he also, you know, he says, I mean, I needed that in the dream, you know, because, you know, I can be a stubborn bitch, you know, and he said, no, you needed exactly that. It was a wake-up call in a way. And it's obviously this is the amazing thing with a dream, when, you know, the pictures are not fading. They're still there.
Yeah. And he has a lot of more to share with you, to open for you, and he is patiently waiting for your that more relaxation and your energy when you would like that sharing.
Okay. Permission. I give permission now. Good.
It's not so much permission, it's so your state of being, your vibration, because you on level of understanding logical, you give permission and bring it inside, more spread through you, coloring with that permission your vibration, stepping as you, as whole you in that vibration.
Okay.
So like as a heart emanation. Like as a heart emanation frequency, Colleen.
This is that remembering and researching and knowing that you are looking for. He is holding key to give it to you when you're ready. It's only when you feel like you want to research something, find something, you need to relax more.
Okay.
And trust what is coming.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. How exciting. Oh, no plan worked out quite well. 6:30 already. We've already done an hour and a half. Is there anything else we want to add to this week as a reminder for us? There's one thing I've really acknowledged last week, that it doesn't really matter in the bigger picture from a soul perspective. It doesn't really matter if we acknowledge something or not. Like I was thinking of soul activations, right? So as you know, like with the Earth Star, I've walked in that town, I've passed that stone, I've been, in the church or walked next to the church. The soul activation has taken place, but me just being there. But the joy of acknowledging it is why we're here. The joy of creating the memory. Because if you don't bring it into the now, be it now through writing it down or telling it to somebody else, it's still happening. It's still there. Like we all know, the soul is complete, the soul is law, everything. But the whole point is to acknowledge it so that we can share it. Or even if you just share it to yourself on a cognitive level, yeah? It's important to bring something into your cognitive mind in order to create the experience. That's the whole point of being here.
And being conscious about what you're creating, what you're going through, what is your experience. Yes.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
That
something.
reminds me.
Sorry.
That
sorry.
reminds me of it is, we are it, we forget, we remember. Sometimes we go into the forgetting just so that we could have that joy of remembering. And sometimes like, okay, I want to be more in the remembering.
Yes.
But remembering, when I forget, I get to have the joy of remembering once I remember again.
Absolutely right, Marissa. Because, at the end of the day, you could say, I don't have to do anything because on a soul level, I'm complete. Yeah, and why are you here? Have some fun with it, right? It's the whole point. And this has been coming through like, duh, yes. That's really everything. There's no must do, have to. No, it's a bloody choice. It's just a choice, like Shilpa said. And not just one, it's a, consecutive every 10 seconds, like Access says, keep choosing, keep choosing, keep choosing, keep choosing. Purely because you can. As I love this saying. Do it not because you have to, no, because you can. Because you have a body.
And the joy and the innocent heart, right, and that sense of play do bring that magic and that appreciation.
Yep.
Speaking of appreciation, I'm really glad to be able to have tuned in live today, and just like synchronicities and messages like of each of you, and just like certain messages, just, hey, remember, okay. So really appreciated being here. Like the divine, sometimes it's for me, it seems like synchronicities are increasing. Like they had already increased like a while ago, but now it's like another layer of increasing and rippling out, and then almost like we're going and then the ripple comes back. So making sure that we have a positive ripple to ripple back to us. But today was a joyful ripple to have all of the synchronicities coming in from all of you like-minded souls. Thank you, each of you, for your presence.
Thank you. Thank you for showing up. I think this is the phrase. Thank you for showing up. Because our signature frequency creates a change. Anyone who comes up here, and even if they don't speak one word, even if they don't put up the pictures, you're still contributing on a larger scale. So thank you for showing up. And it's been, this is our, what, third year now, right? Third year? No, April 2020, yeah. Third year, yeah. So thanks for showing up, and keep showing up, and let's see what we can create together as we go along showing up. And then this is maybe a good question for the week. How can you show up even more for yourself? Speak to your dragons about it. Sleep with them. Ask them. Mine is getting excited. He says, okay, now we're talking. All right, more showing up to do. Fantastic. Enjoy, ease, no perfection, just surrendering into that. So all these good energies we talked about. Powerful session. Thank you very much, guys. Recording will go out, and I'll see you all next week. Thanks for coming. Bye.